Hi, in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to configure the Light Gateway as the external access point. The Light Gateway is a full-blown API gateway. However, you can use it as micro gateway. Just focus on one or a few APIs. One of the use cases is to wrap one or more internal APIs or expose or some of the external APIs and expose them as a single API to a third-party consumer applications on the internet or on the intranet. This is called external access point. From a consumer perspective, this is one API provided by an organization. But internally, there might be multiple APIs, and some APIs maybe only expose one or more endpoints, instead expose all endpoints. Some organizations that want to rebrand third-party APIs can use this external access point to bridge the access from third-party consumers and third-party APIs. From the consumer perspective, they are accessing the internal API from your organization with your OAuth 2.0 credentials. In fact, they're just accessing an API in the cloud or from one of your partners. Instead of implementing a customized wrapper API, you can use Light Gateway with the external access point configuration for your use cases. So here, I'll give you a walkthrough for one of the examples. I'm going to wrap up like 3 APIs together and expose that to an external consumer. One API is the public free API, CatFact API. So this is the API you can access. You can send the request and get your response back. It's HTTP catfact.ninja/fact. Another API, which is external as well, is public. This is the API, like dummy REST API example.com/API/v1/employees. This will give you all the employees information. This is the response from the API. And also we have a pet store API, which is internal. Like those 2 APIs before, like external APIs. But the internal API, we have pet store. And this is the way we start pet store. So this is the pet store API. We can restart it. You can see where we started. We start from network light example 40, which is a repository. REST pet store maven single. So we just start java-jar target/server.jar. So once we do that, we start the pet store API listening to port 9443 on HTTPS. We also have those 2 external APIs publicly available, the facts and the employees. So what we are going to do is we are going to create this external access point so that we can expose this like a fake, or what I can say gateway as 3 endpoints: gets, cats, and employees. So you can see when we're accessing the pets API, this is the backend is a pet store. You get this response. And when you're accessing cats, you get this response, which is the fact API. And if you are using /v1/employees, you're going to get the employees back. So all of them follow the same path, like with the /v1. This is /v1 cats, this is /v1 pets, and this is /v1 employees. So you can see we overwrite the URL so that the external API will act just like an internal API. We can change everything we want. Also, we can apply our own security on the other like cross-cutting concerns on the gateway. Any cross-cutting concern on the Light Gateway, you can utilize that. So now let me show you how the gateway is started. So we had gateway started like from in the mode of debugging mode. So if anything's wrong, we can debug into it. And this is the configuration we are talking about. So in the Light Gateway repository, we have this folder called the product. Within the product, we have this external access point. Here we have logback.xml, we have README, and this is all 3 APIs listed here. And also we have a server key store to start the server with HTTPS. This is the configuration. So within the configuration, you can see we have BizPass/ and all the handlers, and this is a handler chain, default handler chain. So we are using a router. We have security. We have request interceptor, so that you can even transform the request body, so that if the downstream API changed, you can still expose the same exactly request body to the outside. And this is the configuration for the router /v1 cats. So we rewrite the URL to /fact /v1/employee. We basically rewrite the URL to /API/v1/employees. This is the client verification for the token. This is how we get the JWK from Okta. So we are trying to set up with Okta, but in fact, like I'm just bypassing those 3 prefixes. So here you can have /v1/pets, /v1/cats, /v1/employees. So this is just trying to bypass the security so that we don't need to provide the token when we do testing. But you can easily enable this. This is the singleton. We have all the requests, interceptor, body interceptor, and the transformer interceptor here. We also have this direct registry for router, so that you can route your traffic to pet store, to the cat fact, and also the dummy REST API example, those three sites using the router. We also have path prefix. Based on those path prefix, we route the traffic to those 3 different API IDs. One of the options we have is this: if your internal server, you cannot access external cloud service directly, you have to go through the proxy server. In this case, you have to set up something a little bit different. For example, when in the client section, you need to set up like token proxy host and also token proxy port, so that we are using this proxy to access Okta to get the JWK. Also, you have to set up like instead, like for the external service, you are using the direct registry like this. You have to use the external service. So within the external service, you can have those 2 public API config like this: /v1/cats to cat fact, and also /v1/employee go to dummy REST API example. And also you have this URL rewriting rule set up here. Instead, you set up the rewriting rule in the router, because we cannot simply using router for the routing rule. And you see here we have 2 routing rules, rewrite rules there, because /v1/pets, we don't need to do any URL rewriting. That's pretty much all the configuration. This is only a starting point. Like all the other middleware handlers, you can start utilizing that if you want to. And you can see I'm basically comment out a lot of handlers. Let's say the specification and the validator is not there. However, if you want to, you can create a OpenAPI YAML and put those 3 endpoints into the YAML file as a specification, so that you can enable the specification and also the validator, so that the request come into your gateway. It will validate the request based on the specification before forwarding the request to the downstream API, whether the API is internal or external. So this is one way we can do that. And also with the specification available, you can also put enable the security to validate the JWT token scope against the specification. In that case, you probably need to move this security after the specification, because specification is responsible to load the OpenAPI YAML. Yeah, I think that's it. That's if you have any questions, let us know. Thank you.